Hello and welcome to our Home Designer 2016 Closet webinar. My name is Stephanie and I'll be presenting today. I also have Kayla here with me on chat to answer any questions you may have throughout this demonstration. Before we begin, I would like to review our GoToMeeting system. To set up your audio, please select the mic and speakers option located under the audio mode dialog. Everyone will be muted, so you do not need to worry about setting up a microphone. If you're having trouble hearing me, click this sound check link for additional audio controls. And if you don't see this screen, it simply means it's been minimized. Click on the button in the upper left-hand corner to maximize the screen. If you have questions at any time, feel free to chat those in. Click send and Kayla will respond. Today I'll be designing in Home Designer Professional. Home Designer Pro is the top program in our Home Designer line. However, many of the tools and features I use will be available in our other Home Designer products. I'll be sure to specify if they're only available in Pro. And if you do have questions about what program would best suit your needs, feel free to contact our sales team and we'll be able to best assist you. For our agenda today, I'll begin by drawing out exterior and interior walls to connect our closet. I'll also place some custom cabinet items. We'll design a seat using cabinet tools. We'll place in an island using an architectural block. I'm going to add in a custom ceiling using our soffit tools. We'll place some lighting and different accessories within the plan. I'll even review some material controls. We'll generate a materials list, and if you have questions at any time, feel free to chat those in and we'll be able to best assist you. So I'm going to begin by opening up Home Designer Pro. And when we open up the program, we have default tools that appear across the top. And I'm going to select my exterior wall tool. It's located with my wall tools at the top. And we'll click and drag to add in some exterior walls. Click and drag again. And as I'm pulling out this wall, you can see temporary dimensions appear on top of the wall. I'll also add in two interior walls. The interior wall tool is located right below that exterior wall tool. I'm just going to click and drag and click and drag. So once all four walls are connected, I have roof planes that appear. To give us an idea of what this looks like, we'll go up to our camera tools, take a perspective full overview, and we can see we have a roof on our structure, interior walls, and then exterior walls with siding. So I'm going to exit out of this view. I'm going to hide these roof planes because we don't need them for our plan today. So I'll go up to my layer options. I'm going to see that my roof plane line item is used and it's displayed. I'm going to click on the check box to remove that display, and now I have a nice clean plan to work with. So let's get in and adjust dimensions of our closet. To do this, I'm going to tap on my space bar, click on the wall I want to change and the dimension I want to modify. So I'm going to make this dimension 22 feet 4 inches, and our software thinks in inches, so I don't need to place in an inch mark. And then I'm going to move this wall to move the left end of the wall. We also have the ability to move both ends or the right end, so I'm going to click on that, tap enter on my keyboard, and then I'm going to change my exterior wall by clicking on the wall and the dimension I want to modify. This will update to 17 feet by 16 inches, and I'm going to click enter again. And now the space is dimensioned out. So I want to work in two views here. Right now I'm in plan view, but we're going to go back up to our camera tools and we'll take a full camera of this space. So I'll click in the corner and drag out the camera, and then I'm going to pull down my plan view so that I can work in two separate views. I'm scrolling in using a mouse with a scroll wheel so that I can see the space I want to design a little bit more clearly. And the next thing I'd like to do is start adding in some cabinet items. So if we go back up to our default tools, I can select between a base cabinet, a wall cabinet, or full height cabinets. So I'm going to click on full height cabinet. I'll click within my plan so we can get an idea of what this looks like. And once the cabinet's placed, we can see it over here in our 3D view. This is what a default cabinet looks like for the program. I want to make some modifications. I'll be using many full height cabinets for this plan, so I want to make sure that I change the defaults to something more along the lines of what I'll be using. So what we'll do here is go up to our Edits toolbar, and I'm going to scroll down to Default Settings, click on Cabinets, and we're going to select our full height cabinet. Double click to open that up and we'll make some adjustments. So right now the height is set at 90 inches, but I do want to make a change to the width here. So I'm just going to delete out this number and we'll place in 48. Click Tab on our keyboard to make those adjustments, and we can see in our preview view over here that as I'm making modifications, our cabinet will adjust so we can get an idea of what that's going to look like. The depth looks good. However, I do want to remove the toe kick. So I'm going to set this at 0 and click Tab again so we can see that change. We'll now get into our front tab. I'm going to click on an item and we can see it'll highlight so we know what item we're working on. This is our auto right door, and it's a double door because we've now expanded out our cabinet. I'm going to specify the shelving units here, so I'll click Specify. And I have the ability to use automatic shelving or manual within Home Designer Pro. So I'm going to click Manual and I'm going to set this at 0. Please note within our other Home Designer programs that you can either have shelving available or no shelving, but you cannot change the amount of shelving units that are going to show within a plan with our other Home Designer products. So this is a nice feature to have with Pro. We'll click OK, and I'm going to do the same for the bottom portion of this cabinet. So I'm going to click on the item I want to change, go to Shelves, and I'm going to specify this at 0, so select Manual and set the shelves at 0 and click OK. I'm going to get into our door and drawer panel. I'm going to specify the style. So it's set at a knob, but I want to change this to a vertical pull. And we can see that it's updated here in our preview view. We're going to drop down to the drawer handle. I have the style set at a knob, but I'd like to change the type that I've used. So I can get into my library items, I'll get into architectural, into my hardware folder, and I'm going to change this to a glass knob. Click OK, and it'll modify when we use drawer handles on our cabinets. We'll also add in a molding, so let's click Add New. We're back into that library catalog here, and I'm going to place a crown molding on the top of my cabinet. I'll click OK, and I'm going to set the height here to 3 inches. Click Tab. And we have our molding that's applied, but it's not set where it needs to be. So it looks like it's laying a little bit in that cabinet. So I'm going to set the vertical offset here to -3. We'll click Tab, and now we can see our molding has appeared. If you want to make any changes to the fill style, this is where you would do so. The only item I want to change left on this cabinet is going to be the panel. I'm going to adjust the material here. So we'll click on Panel, select Material, and we'll get into our glass item. So you can collapse items so we have a better view. So I'll collapse our colors. We'll pull this up a bit, and I'm going to get into my glass and glazing catalog. Scroll down to transparent glass, and I'm going to select standard glass. You can click once, click OK, and that will apply. I'm going to select OK. When I do that, we'll click Done. We can see some features have modified within the cabinet, but what I want to do is delete it out. So I'm going to tap on my spacebar, click to select that item, delete the cabinet, and we're going to place our updated default cabinet by going up to our cabinet tools, clicking on full height, and bringing it over into our plan and clicking to add it in there. I'm going to place one more while we're here. I'm going to show you how easy it is to get in and make some changes to that cabinet. So we're going to double click to select it. I'm going to go directly to my front tab. I'll click on this bottom portion to change the type that we're using. So I'm going to modify this to a drawer. It's a pretty large drawer for this space. So one of the new tools that we've added with Home Designer Pro is you can now split an item horizontally. So I'm going to click on that, and now it's cut the item in half, and I'd like to do that one more time. With our other Home Designer programs, you do have to go in and manually change it. So what we can do is click on the item and then add new. And I'm going to set this at a drawer. That's perfect, so I'll leave it as it is. The item height is set at 11, and that will work as well. So we'll click OK. And now we have a new cabinet that we can apply here, and it's updated. So let's rotate around our plan just a little bit by going up to our mouse orbit tool. Click on the tool. We're just going to rotate around so we get a better view of the area we're designing, and we're going to place in another cabinet. So I'm going to go up to my tools. Since my full height cabinet is the last tool that I had selected, I can simply click on that item and bring it down within my plan. So we'll bring it over here in 3D and click to add it in. So I want to make a few modifications to this one as well. So I'm going to double click to open up the cabinet. We're going to get in here and remove this item. So I'm just selecting it, and I can click delete, and now that's open. I'm going to click delete again, and we need to even remove the separation there. This time we'll get in and specify our shelves. And now that we have this whole area to work with, I'm going to add in some manual shelves. We'll add in 5. This will be an area where you can place some shoes. And we'll click OK. And now that cabinet has been adjusted. So with a couple quick clicks, you can see how we were able to adjust several cabinet items and use it within our closet. So let's add in another cabinet here, another full height. We'll click in our Actually, let's add this in our plan view. So I'm going to click inside plan view, and then we can add that cabinet in here. And I'm going to double click to open up this object. And let's change the front options again. We're going to just go in here and delete out these items so we have a nice open area. And click OK. So we do have a gap right between our cabinets, so I do want to bring these up closer. I'm going to tap on my space bar and click to select these objects. So I'm using a multi-select feature that's available within Pro, and I'm going to bring these items up. And I can even move them using my keyboard, so I'm going to do that so I can get it a little closer to where I'd like. And then I'm going to click on this other cabinet to bring it in. And once these are within 2 inches of each other, we get a nice filler here, so it automatically places a filler where it's needed. So if we click over here, I'm going to rotate around this plan again. So we're going to add in one more full height cabinet. Just go and grab that cabinet, and then I'll click within my plan over here just to place it. I'm going to double click to open up the cabinet, and we're going to make some changes here. So the height is set at 90. I would like to adjust the width, so we'll set this to 27. I'll click tab to accept that change. And let's get into our front tab. I'm going to click on an item that I want to modify. I'm going to change the height on this item to 63.5 inches. We'll click tab. And I'd also like to change the bottom portion here to a drawer. Click within the plan and click OK. So what we can do now is I'm just going to move this cabinet over by grabbing on our cabinet in our plan view, and we have these edit handles where we can just move it and bump it up to our other cabinet. So now what I'd like to do is within Home Designer Pro, we have a tool where we can, first of all, let's tap our space bar, select our cabinets, make a copy, and then we can reflect them within the room. So now that I've done all the work, I'm just going to place those cabinets on the other wall. To get an idea of what this looks like, let's click in our 3D view here, and we're going to orbit around the room again. So we'll go and grab that tool, orbit, and we can see now that our cabinets have been placed on the other side of the room. I'd like to continue by adding in a bench, so I'm going to show you how different cabinet tools work within the program. We've been placing full heights, but we also have a base cabinet that we can use here. So we're going to go up into our 3D view, Click to add in this cabinet, and we can see the cabinet that's been placed looks like a cabinet we'd find in a bathroom. So what we can do, or even kitchen, we'll click on our space bar. We're going to make some changes to this cabinet so that we can create a bench. So I'm going to set the height here to 21 inches by, let's do the width at 30. And it looks like the countertop needs to be increased so that we can add a cushion. We're going to convert the countertop into a cushion. So we'll set that at 3. Click Tab, and I'm going to also check flat sides here. We're going to remove the backsplash. And it looks like we'll also make sure that the toe kick is at a 1/2 inch, so we have a little bit of a space for different items to be modified. I'll show you because we're going to modify this to a drawer. Let's get into our front tab now. So I'm going to click delete, and we'll change this to a drawer. And let's click OK and see how this is adjusted. So now that it's in our plan, I'm going to simply make a copy of it, and then we're going to paste another cabinet right next to it. So I'm going to also adjust both of these countertops at one time by selecting both of them. So I'm going to hold down Control and click on the other cabinet to select it. And in the bottom of the screen in our Edit toolbar, we have a tool that will generate a custom countertop. Now that has become one countertop. So I want to open up the object by going to the door in the lower left corner to open up the dialog, and this is a polyline now. So I'm going to change the material here so I have a custom countertop polyline set, and I'm going to select the material, and we're going to change this to a new textile. So we've searched our library by going through different folders, but I'm just going to type in the item that I'd like to use. So I have a Paris textile I'd like to use, so I can actually click and scroll through to find exactly what I'm looking for. Click OK to apply it. And we also want to make sure our molding is correct for our bench cover here. So I'm going to go into my Moldings tab, click Add New, and we'll get into our architectural folder down into Moldings, and we have a folder available for an edge molding. So I'll add in this edge molding, click OK, and we'll set the height here to 3 inches. Click Tab to accept it, and then let's click OK. And now we can see that's adjusted, but it looks like our molding is not the same material now as the cover we used for our bench. So we need to get back into this item by opening, we'll go to the open door. We're going to get into materials, and we want to specify the molding material. So I'll get into select material, and this is a nice feature available with Home Designer Professional as well. We can get into our plan materials. Since we just use that Paris textile, instead of going through all of my library items, I can scroll down and find exactly what I used. Click OK, OK again to accept the change, and now my bench has been updated. I'd like to add in a window while we're in this view. So we're going to click on our plan, then we'll click on our window tool, and I'm going to select to add this window. And I want to make some modifications to the window, so we'll tap on our spacebar, double click to open up the window, and we're going to change the width here to 44 inches. Click Tab, and we can get in and change other different options within our panels here for a window. One of the big things that I'd want to modify with this would be I want to add some lights across the top. So I'm going to get into my lights panel. We'll add a light across the top, and we'll accept that. Click OK. And let's center this window, make sure it's center where it needs to be. So we have our center tool, and it's right perfectly centered where we need it. So I'd like to make a few material changes while we're here. To do this, we're going to open up our library browser. So we're going to go up to View, Library Browser, and I've created a user catalog. So we've been working a lot with our core catalogs. However, we can get down into our user catalog, and this is items that have been put together for my closet so I don't have to keep scrolling through folders. I can access them rather quickly. So I'm going to add a wallpaper to my back wall here by clicking on the wallpaper, and then I'm also going to click in my plan to add in that wallpaper. I'm going to rotate around here just a little bit so we can use our material eyedropper tool. So I'm going to click on the wall, and then I have different options down in the corner for how we want to paste different materials. So I'm going to blend the color and bring it on top of the wallpaper so that it will match the other materials we are using. And one other thing I'd like to do while we're in this view is show you how we can add in a different backdrop by going up to our core catalog, backdrops, down to water. I'm going to add an ocean backdrop. I'd like to use the rocky beach. So I'll click within my plan, and now we have a nice new background. So let's exit out of our library browser for now, and we'll click out of this view. In our plan view, I'm going to double click on my spacebar here to open it up, and I'm going to show you how we can make a wall invisible. So I'm going to select this option, click OK, and I'd like to do this because I'm going to take a different view of our space. So we're going to go up and take a camera view, a dollhouse view, and we're going to utilize this for when we add in our architectural blocks so we can get a nice clear picture of this big open space. So one of the other ways we can access our library browser in a quick fashion is to go up to our default tools, click on the books here, and now our library browser is back to the forefront. So I have created in my users catalog a island of pre-designed cabinets that we can use for our dresser. So I'm going to click on that, click within our plan, and now we have our island applied. I would like to rotate this around a bit though, so we're going to use our floor plan view here. We'll zoom in, double click to select that island, and we want to center it within the room. So let's center it there. Click once. We're going to rotate that island around, and now I want to make sure it's centered on the other wall. So we'll click on our center tools as well, and we're going to click there to make sure it's centered. And now that's been updated. So let's exit out of this view, and we're going to finish by placing in some items on the back side of the wall. So we need to open up the wall again by double clicking. We're going to make this a solid wall again. Click OK. We'll take a different view. So we'll get into our camera tools, take a full camera view, click within the back of our room, and now we can see this back space a little bit more clear. So another way to tile two separate camera views is by clicking Shift F6 on our keyboard, and that will take two separate views of our space. So let's add in a door to go into our master bedroom. We'll click to add that, and we can see over on the left that we have an exterior door that's been applied. The reason being is if a wall connects to an exterior wall, it is going to modify that wall to be an exterior door because it's connected to an exterior space. So to make an adjustment here, I'm going to first expand this door. So I'm going to tap on my space bar, click to select to open up this door here. We're going to make this a double door, and I also want to make some modifications. So while this door is selected, I'm going to go to my open object tool, and we're going to modify the door that we've used by going to our library, and we have entry doors selected. I'm going to go to French doors. We'll apply a French door, click OK. Let's also adjust the material. So the glass here, we'll select material, and I'm going to change this to a frosted glass. So I can search this by just typing it in, and let's see what's generated. There's our frosted glass. We'll click OK, and now our door has been adjusted. Let's add in a couple other items while we're in this view. I'm going to add in a mirror. So I'll click on the wall, and it looks like our mirror is floating. So let's take a look at what's going on over here in our 3D view. So we're in our full camera view. If I click within the plan, I can rotate around here, tap on my space bar to grab that object, and we're just going to pull it down. And we can adjust the height. And we can also copy this mirror onto the other wall by going down to our copy tool. Click where the door is at. Well, I want to reflect that, so we'll click where the door is at, and now we can move that over to the other side. Let's add in just a couple more items. We'll place a coat rack. We can do this in our 3D view, and by doing that, let's move our plan over. I see that I want to adjust this a little bit, so it's really easy to work with two separate views by just clicking and dragging on that item. And let's also place in our laundry basket. So we'll click. I can even rotate this around, and now we have those items placed. With the back side of our closet completed, I'd like to move into designing our custom ceiling. So I'll exit out of this view, and let's also click out of our library browser. We'll zoom out of here, and let's take another camera view. So I'll click on my camera tools, select full camera. We'll click in a different corner here. And I'm going to tap Shift F6 on my keyboard to tile both of my views. It's a quick option there. We'll zoom in, and we're going to get into our cabinet tools again, but this time I'd like to select soffit tools. So to place a soffit, I'm just going to click within my plan. We're going to double click to open up this soffit and make some modifications. So I'm going to change this to 259.5 inches. Click Tab to accept that change. We'll change this to 13 5/8 and modify the depth to 60, and the height here needs to be set at 94. So I'll click Tab and we'll select OK. Now we can see our soffit has adjusted a bit. So we need to bring this over in our plan view and move it all the way back. So I'm going to hold Control down so I have free range with moving the soffit. We're going to bump it all the way back to the corner, and I'm going to make a copy of this soffit. So I'm going to go down to my Edit toolbar, click, and then we're going to just click within our plan, and I can rotate this soffit around using my grab handle here. And I'll move this down, holding Control, and I can bump that soffit to where I would like it to be. And now I'd like to make another copy. So I'm showing you how we can make a couple different changes. So we'll make a copy, but we're going to do a copy and paste in place. This is going to paste the object in place, so we can even move it with the handles here. I can bump this up against my other soffit and expand it out this way. I'm going to make a copy. We're going to reflect it on the other side of our island, and now we're starting to get all of our soffits placed. If you needed to make any changes or move those out, you can do that by also just grabbing using your edit handles here. I'm going to place one more soffit on top of my island. So I'm going to go up to my soffit tool again, click within the island. We'll tap on our space bar, and you can double click to open it up, and we need to make this soffit 60 inches for the width. I'm going to change the height to 10, 54 by 5/16, and the floor to bottom on this is going to be set at 97, so there's going to be a little bit of separation from our other soffit. We'll click OK to accept that change. And now I would like to rotate this around our plan. So if we wanted to move it, you can just grab those handles, and I'm going to hold down Control and bring that soffit to where I'd like it to be. And now looking at this in 3D, I can see I also want to make a couple more changes here. So I'm just going to pull this out, and I'm going to grab on my other soffit and pull it out so it's equal as well. And now that has been adjusted. So let's add in some lighting. And to do this, we'll go back into our library items, click on the library tool at the top of our default tools, and we'll bring in a chandelier. So I can click within my plan to add the lighting, and we can see it's updating in our 3D view. And let's add in some other electrical components. So if you go up to Build, scroll down to Electrical, we can add in some lights. So So I'll click on my light and I'm just going to click within my plan. I'll tap on my space bar to open up that object, go to the open door in the lower left corner, and this is our electrical service specification dialog. So if we wanted to change anything with the position or the size, or if we needed to reverse the symbol, we can do that within this dialog. I'm going to select OK. What I'd like to do with my light though is I want to make some more copies of it. So we're going to go down to our default tools, go to transform replicate. We're going to make a copy, and in fact I'm going to make 3 copies of the light that we just placed, and we're going to move it. So we have options to move it on its X or Y or Z axis. So I'm going to select X. And I'm going to space these lights about, let's do 2 feet apart. Click OK. And we can see now they're all spaced apart. I'm going to hold down Control so I can select that other light. And now I can move these freely within the plan. I'll hold down Control though so I can move this exactly where I want it to be. And we're going to make another copy of it, reflect it on the other side of this island. And let's add in some more lighting. So we're going to do just like we did with our soffit. So we're going to do a copy and paste in place. And now that we have another copy, we can move those out. Let's rotate those lights around. And I'll move them up. And I'm also going to reflect them. So we'll make another copy here. Reflect. And now with a couple quick clicks, we have our lights placed. Let's see what other electrical items we can add in. So we'll go up to our drop down and let's add in some switches. So I'll place a switch here and another switch. Can zoom in a little bit to get a better idea. Let's add in some outlets. So I'll click within the plan to place those outlets. And I also want to connect my electrical. So I'm just going to click to connect the lights here. And add them to the switch. We can connect our chandelier. And our electrical plan has been completed. So we'll exit out of this view. I'll zoom out of here. And I want to place a few other items in our closet. And to do this, we need to take another camera view. Let's do full camera. And I have created a couple items and added them to our user catalog. So we're going to tile both these views again, Shift F6, we'll zoom in. And with all this electrical placed, I'd like to hide these items while we're placing our other features. So let's go back up to those layering options and we'll click on electrical or select electrical. We'll turn off the display for our electrical items as well as our soffit items. So I'm going to click on cabinets and then soffits. And let's also hide our connections. That's what we're missing. So we'll go back up to our layer, go down to electrical connections. Click OK. And now that's been removed. So we have a little bit of a clearer picture here while we're adding in our other items. So I have some dresses that I've pre-designed. I'm going to click within my plan. And now they're floating. So we need to rotate these around. So I'm tapping on my space bar. We're going to rotate our dresses around. And I'm going to bring them back within the cabinet. So I'm going to hold down Control and move those back in alignment. And it looks like our shoes are floating. So we need to take an elevation view so that we can make some changes. So we're going to go over where our camera tools are. To the left, we have our wall elevation tool. So I can click within my plan and take a wall elevation. When I look at my view here, I can see I don't have my dresses available. We need to go into our layering options again and make sure that that item is selected. So we need a furniture, interior, and we can see that it is used but not displayed. So this time we want to display an item. We'll click OK, and now we can see where our dresses are, and they're floating. So we need to pull them down by holding down Control and moving our dresses down to where they need to be. And it looks like they're still, there we go. Now our shoes and dresses are in a perfect alignment. So let's rotate around our plan here and we'll add in a few other items in our far view over here. So we can click between different views, which makes it nice. We're going to go to our floor plan view and we're going to add in some of our shirts. Click within the plan. I'm going to tap on my space bar and we're going to hold down Control again, move those back into the closet, and then we also want to get into our elevation view and we want to pull those dresses down. So I'm going to click Tab to select those shirts and we can make sure we line those up and everything else looks great there. So we'll exit out of this elevation view. And one last item I'd like to place are some purses that I've set into an architectural block. So I'll click in my plan and my purses are floating, but we need to take a different view here. So what we'll do is let's move these purses back first. Hold down Control, we're going to get them centered. And it looks like they're close to where we'd like them to be, but to make sure everything is as it's needed, we'll go over to our wall elevation and we need to get within the cabinet this time. And we can see they're all lined up, but I just needed to double check that. So we'll click out of this view and now we've placed all of our other items. Let's just enhance our view here. And one other item I want to change is our flooring. I'm going to show you how materials work. So I'm going to go up to my Adjust Materials Definition tool, click on my floor, and I'm going to make some changes within the materials options here. So the general tab looks good. If you wanted to change the material or the line color, you can do so here or type. I'm going to get into my pattern panel and I'm going to set the angle to 180. So we're going to flip our floor around, click tab, and we'll move down to our texture panel and we'll change the angle here as well to 180. And I also want to modify the material color. So we'll set using texture, click to open up this option. Actually, let's blend. Click to open up the option and we'll darken this up. Click OK. Let's click OK to accept these changes. And now our flooring has been modified. So we can exit out of this camera view. While we're in our plan view, I want to show you how we can also generate a materials list. So if we get up into our tools, go down to materials list, we can calculate materials from all floors, from a particular room or area. I like our area tool. I can click and drag around my entire closet, and now I can populate a materials list based on the items that we've used. We've added in a lot of cabinet items. So if we scroll down within our cabinets, you can see that there's many different cabinet pieces that have been added, and you can even generate pricing. So I'm going to click out of our materials list. We're not going to save this today. So I'm going to take one final camera view. We'll go up to our camera options to full camera. I'll click and drag within our plan. And let's just move this around just a bit. Let's go up to our render options. So up on our default toolbar, we have a final view that we can choose from. And that's just going to smooth the edges of all of our materials, give us a nice view to look at. We even have some artistic camera options that we can choose from. So right now we're in a standard view. If you'd like to change to a vector or technical illustration, these are great views that are available within Home Designer Professional and Architectural. You even have a glass house view that will allow you to see within those cabinets, and also a watercolor for a more artistic camera option there. Let's go back up to standard. We'll close out of here with our final view. And this concludes our presentation for today. Just wanted to thank you all for attending. I'd like to take a minute to show you a few features on our website. Like I said, today we designed in Home Designer Professional. However, we have Architectural, Suite, Essentials, Interiors available. We also have a product chooser, so if you want to look between a couple different options and see what product works best for you, I'd highly suggest taking a look at that page. We have a free trial download available, so if you want to try out some of our software, you can do so risk-free with a trial download. I'd like to take a moment to show you some other items in our user center. So we have training videos available if you wanted to learn more about closets or anything specific. I'd recommend checking those out. You can go down to our samples gallery. This is where we have a lot of nice samples available that have been designed within our software. If you want to download additional content for your program, I recommend doing so. If you click over on our support tab, we can go into our knowledge base, and this is where all our help articles are. So if you have questions, for example, with our closet, click enter, and this will generate different items that pertain to our closet, for example. That's a great help article that's available. We scroll all the way down to the bottom of this article. You can see we have our social media icons at the lower portion of our screen, and so you can check us out on Facebook, check with other users using our user form, or even visit our YouTube page. So I want to take a moment just to say thank you again, and I recommend downloading a free trial of the program you're interested in. We do have a 30-day money-back guarantee with all of our programs. We offer many different upgrade discounts, so if you have any questions about if your program is eligible, please contact our sales department. And Kayla will be around for another few minutes to wrap up any questions you may have. Thank you again and have a wonderful day.